This is a short review of quadratic equations. Now technically, it's a second-degree equation dealing with only one variable, but to say it in another way, it's just an equation where 2 is the biggest exponent. Sometimes you're going to see equations and they look all out of order. This is not standard form. But when the variables are put in order in terms of their exponents, then it is in standard form. Now you'll see what I mean in this example. X squared goes first because the 2 is the biggest exponent. 2x goes second because when there is no exponent, you can assume there's a 1 there. And 1 goes last because when there is no variable, you can assume an exponent of 0. And now we'll go over the ABCs of quadratic equation. Standard form is written ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a and b stand for the coefficients, or the numbers that go in front of the variables. C is called a constant because it has no variable attached to it. Now given the equation 2x squared plus 10x plus 9 equals 0, we can see what the ABCs stand for. 2 is where the A is, so A equals 2. 10 is where the B is, so B equals 10. And 9 is where the C is, so C equals 9. Now make sure you don't forget to take note of the signs in front of the coefficients. That's very important. Now let's try this equation. X squared plus 3x minus 18 equals 0. Try to figure out what the A, B, and C are. I hope I gave you enough time. As you can see here, when there is no coefficient in front of a variable, you can assume that there's a 1 there. A does equal 1, B does equal 3, and C equals negative 18. Now notice that I brought the negative along with the negative 18. Now let's try this one. X squared minus 4 equals 0. This one may seem a little tricky because it doesn't seem like it has enough terms. But maybe it'll help if I write it like this. Now, try to guess what the A, B, and C's are. As we learned from the last slide, when there is no coefficient, you can assume a 1. So A does equal 1. Now, when we have a term that is not there, we assume that it equals 0. Since we had no term with an X, we can assume that B equals 0. And C equals negative 4. Again, please notice that I did bring the negative along with it. And that does it for our brief review of quadratic equations.